Hello, welcome to today's video. My name is Brad Banks. I'm a self-made millionaire that learned money management tools early on, and now I spend my days helping people like yourself reach their financial goals. Over the years, I've realized that many people struggle with similar financial problems. Unfortunately, some of these problems plague individuals throughout their lives due to the choices they make on a day-to-day basis. In this video, I'm going to be listing out the top 10 money management mistakes that people make, rationalize why they shouldn't commit these mistakes, and come up with a solution for each problem. As always, my goal is for you to learn how you can manage your money better and be entertained along the way. In exchange, I'd be very appreciative if you could like this video or subscribe so that others across the world can gain access to information that can positively impact their life. Let's solve some problems and make the world a better place. The first issue that people tend to struggle with is focusing on spending less money instead of making more. There's no doubt that saving money is extremely important, but after all, you still need to eat and there's only so much that you can save. It seems many folks are reluctant to try and earn more because it can potentially require a lot more effort. Whether it be starting a new business or monetizing a hobby, you should definitely focus on trying to earn more in all your endeavors because I can almost guarantee you'll never regret trying your best, and you'll be able to eventually reap the rewards for those extra hours. There are endless ways to earn extra money, so I won't list all of them, but I'll say there are a few ways to focus on earning more, and I can help you with those steps. First, you want to figure out a specific amount extra that you'd like to make. Don't throw out a random number, make sure it's a measurable amount, an amount that you'll be able to get to. Something that's attainable. Then decide if it's realistic and ensure that it's time-bound. After that, hypothesize what can get me this amount and start asking yourself questions. By interrogating yourself, your brain will start to browse through solutions and you'll be surprised what you come up with. If you're knowledgeable about something, you can potentially create a course. If you love spending time outside, you can offer lessons or tours for an outside activity. If you're creative, then I'm sure there are other people in the world that appreciate your creativity. Make sure to be optimistic. Don't tell yourself that you're not good enough. Be critical to notice areas of improvement, but don't beat yourself down to where it causes you to quit. The next mistake most people make with their finances is not investing their money early enough. When people are young and starting out, they spend a lot of their money on things that won't help them in the long run, and then they invest the small amount they have left over after purchasing their needs and wants. This is the wrong approach if you want to make a significant impact on your financial future. Leveraging time on your money is one of the most powerful things you can do, and the earlier you can start, the better off you'll be. The key is to make investing and saving a priority. You must establish a goal and do what you have to meet that goal. One problem that's really apparent in the modern investment marketplace is investing in things you don't understand. It doesn't help that the financial sector is full of jargon terminology that's designed to make others seem smart and for everyday people to ignore. A lot of people tend to invest their hard-earned dollars into businesses where they don't understand how the business makes money. This is a recipe for disaster. How can you know you're paying the right price for something if you don't truly know how much it's worth? You want to be able to distinguish between it's a good business or a bad business. What kind of earnings can we expect from this company over time? Is this business going to be heavily affected by change? The consistent message here is to find a business that you understand that's not particularly complicated, that has a successful long-term track record, that makes an attractive profit and can grow over time. So what are the key things to look for in a business, as I say, that lasts forever? Well, you want a business that sells a product or a service that people enjoy and that it's something unique and they have a loyalty to this particular brand or product and that people are willing to pay a premium for that. The next mistake people tend to make with their money is following the crowd. Legendary investor Warren Buffett says to be greedy when others are fearful. Following the crowd is basically the idea that people think it's a good idea to do what everyone else does because everyone else is doing it. When it comes to money management, this is a bad philosophy because there's a reason that the majority isn't financially free. Don't ever feel the fear of missing out on an opportunity and risk losing the money you worked hard for. Opportunities are always knocking. Pay attention to opportunities and learn to distinguish the good from the bad. Commonly, people increase their spending when their income increases. Economists call this the income effect. Investopedia defines the income effect as the change in demand for a good or service caused by a change in a consumer's purchasing power, resulting from a change in real income. This change can be the result of a rise in wages, etc., or because existing income is freed up by a decrease or increase in the price of a good that money is being spent on. For everyday consumers, it comes down to the choices they make and the outcomes they get. When you get rewarded for your hard work and get a raise, consider investing a large chunk of that instead of spending it. This next problem really bothers me because I know that so many hardworking individuals believe they're doing the right thing, but aren't aware that they're getting ripped off by institutions and fees. If you're putting money into a workplace sponsored retirement program, it's essential to be aware of how much you're paying in fees. Typical 401k programs have around 30 investment options, and the fees that are associated with these investments include expense ratios, investment fees, administrative fees, and fiduciary or consulting fees. For 403b programs, which affects teachers and nonprofit organizations, many products include fees upwards of 7%, which makes it nearly impossible to grow your money over time. Take the time to log into your retirement accounts and browse through the investments you purchase and ensure that you're paying minimal fees. You'll be glad that you took the time. People have a habit of what's called benchmarking. Benchmarking is basically comparing something to what's understood as normal. When it comes to personal finance, people make the mistake of paying attention to other people's finances and their lifestyle. This can be a bad habit that spirals over time. When people compare themselves to others, it results in one person being jealous or sad that they aren't living the life that they wanted to. This can result in people feeling like they're on the outside looking in, and it doesn't drive results. To get the best results, you have to focus on yourself. You gotta look at yourself and hold yourself accountable for your circumstances. Begin by browsing your thoughts and be more optimistic about things. Realize that you can follow your dreams, and that if you work towards your goals relentlessly, then you'll reach them. Don't try to be like anyone else, because everyone has their own unique abilities, and what someone else wants likely differs from what you want. To evaluate the things that you truly want, I would advise you to create a have, do, be list. Write down the things you want to have, what you would like to do in your life, and the type of person you want to become. Create this list and live by it. Nowadays, it's commonplace that people borrow more than they can handle. This can be detrimental to someone's finances over the years because instead of building and compounding wealth, they can be stuck with a growing debt to work for years and pay someone back on. There are numerous ways to borrow money. The most common forms include student loans, car loans, mortgages, credit card debt, margin investing, and personal loans. With all this in mind, there are some tips to think about when you need to borrow money and how to avoid bad debt. I think this can go without saying, but if you're already deep in debt, then don't borrow anymore. Always make sure to read the fine print and understand the terms and conditions of the agreement you're making. If you don't understand something, then ask. And if someone doesn't give you an answer that you'd like, then take your business elsewhere. Don't borrow more than you can afford. This can be hard because you always see a beautiful home and think, well, I can make the mortgage work. Don't do that. Always remember to negotiate your interest rate, repayment plan, and the length of the loan. Pay your credit card bill on time in full every month. I'd argue this is one of the most important money management mistakes that people are finally starting to realize over the last 10 to 15 years. That mistake is not creating multiple income streams. As the average expenses of individuals outpace the average increase in income, this creates a difficult financial gap to bridge if you don't create multiple income streams. Warren Buffett said it best when he said, if you're only one way of making money as your job, then you're one step away from poverty. In recent studies, the IRS has found that millionaire earners tend to have 7 income streams. These include investment income, earned income, rental income, royalty income, capital gains, profits, and interest income. The main takeaway is that it's a lot easier to find numerous things that make small amounts of money instead of one big thing that makes a lot of money. Another advantage to this is not all your income is in one basket, and if there was another recession that caused significant job loss, then you'd be able to handle your finances better. The last money management mistake that people tend to have a hard time with is not taking action. People get very worried when considering all the potential pitfalls they may face and opt to do nothing. I like to call this analysis paralysis. People put off things even though they know they'd be better off in the long run. This includes steps like finding ways to earn more money, saving for emergencies, and even applying for a beneficial credit card. Since you're curious about money management mistakes that people make and how to remedy them, I've even added a bonus that relates to our last mistake. That mistake is not subscribing to my channel. If you want to feel more confident about making a difference in your financial future and ensure you're taking the right steps, then go ahead and start to take action by subscribing to my channel so that you don't miss future content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.